Hello, welcome back to Pushing Buttons, a video game podcast, part of the Geek Freaks Network. This is Kyle.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Frank.
Frank is back in the house. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And yeah, we got quite a lot to discuss today. I was doing my usual web browsing thing early in the morning, and IGN came out with this really interesting article. Basically, it breaks down what they consider to be a 10 out of 10 game, and they give their reasons why,
Yeah.
as well as polling their readers whether their picks for 10 out of 10 games actually are 10 out of 10s. And I thought it was, something we could really break down and deep dive into.
It's interesting with
Yeah, breath there.
reviews. Reviews are like notoriously very subjective. They're just that's what they are. They're 100% subjective opinions. So it's gonna be fun to see all these reviews strictly coming from one source. So there is probably going to be some disagreements and some. I'm hoping a little bit of debate on this as well, coming all straight from IGN, which is a very reputable source.
It is, yeah. As much as we compete against them, we pretend to compete against them. They are a very noble website in a lot of ways. In the sense that some other websites that also talk about video games are clickbaity. IGN's a little better than that. I do like that. I think one thing we need to start off by first is, we all have 4 years of podcasting, and in those 4 years have reviewed a lot of content, TV, movie, video games, whatnot. And the review process is actually surprisingly tricky. It's really hard to just say a number or a grade or anything about something because there's so many nuances to it. And you're going to get backlash because it's your opinion. And so, matter of fact, I reviewed the Steam Deck recently, and in the YouTube video for that, I got so many comments that were just like, "This is bullshit. This is wrong." My review was essentially like, "It's not for me. If you have a gaming PC, you're fine. Jonathan really likes it. Here you go." And so many people were pissed off that I didn't just say it was amazing. That's the life of a reviewer. What are your guys' experiences with the reviewing stuff?
I love to challenge myself to do a fair and impartial review. That's I think is the challenge is the
Yeah.
fair and impartial. And it really I think IGN kind of does this too is they have specific people that review specific types of games. And
Right.
if we here at the Geek Freaks Network did that, I'd of course be the roguelike guy because I love roguelikes. I'm not the only one here that plays roguelikes, but I'm the most adamantly about them. And I think I can tell a good one from a bad one probably better than most other people aren't as familiar with them, at least here in the network.
Yeah.
I personally like it, and trying to find the proper way to describe who should play the game, I think is kind of what we've been trying to do. You and I lately have been testing out the who is this for at the end of a review. And I think that that's a beautiful way to try to signify that it's not a 10 out of 10 game, it's not a 7 out of 10 game, but if you are a fan of this genre, it could be a 10 out of 10 for you.
Yeah. Personally, when I review something, I try to always look at the positives in it because maybe, for example, even think of a bad game, Crackdown 3. I still like the traversal in Crackdown 3. I like jumping around from building to building. So I talk about that. Like, hey, if you're looking for something that you could just fun, jump around and goof off with, Crackdown 3. I try to find the positives in it because even a bad game I'll play sometimes. And even a bad movie is fun when it's just exploding stuff behind something. You might be in the mood for that. So generally when I review something, I might give it a mediocre, poor score, but I'll make sure to mention all the good stuff about it as well. And there are definitely those situations where I got to be like, Morbius is just bad. Stuff like that.
Or if you're
And
Kyle, Fortnite's bad.
well, Fortnite is Kyle. You killed me with that. I just made the clip for that for our channel, actually. But yeah, it's just everybody has a different way of reviewing. Kyle, do you have any sort of strategies when you try to review something?
Well, let's just take that Fortnite review and stuff it because I only had a minute there. I could
Yeah.
have gone into more detail, but I had to make it simple. And when I do those quickfire reviews, I take it more subjectively than
Yeah.
objectively. And I think that's important for a video game review. You have to take into consideration, like, is this actually pushing the medium forward for everybody's benefit? And, a lot of games these days, they kind of get lost in the fold. There's so many releases now. It's hard to keep up with all of them. So you really have to pick and choose like what appeals to you as a gamer as well. So subjective also comes into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely is something that I look to as, is it genre defining? If it is, then 10 out of 10.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but that is another reason why I think the pointing out the differences in different types of reviews is so important, especially if you get all of your reviews and all your opinions from one source. That's dangerous. So if you ask me and Frank about Crackdown 3, you'll get two totally different opinions because I think it was a great game. You talk to Kyle about Fortnite, I'll agree with everything Kyle said about Fortnite. I just wouldn't rate it the same way that he rated it. Maybe in a minute I would, but yeah, I think spreading your sources about amongst different people it's necessary.
It's vital. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree.
What about the system in which you give a review? Like 1 to 10, A, B, C, D. Well, there's no E, but which do you guys think is most accurate, or do you prefer?
Me personally, I do feel like the 10 out of 10 is a good metric because anything I would consider 7 and above, it's a decent game. Like there's a lot of 7 out of 10 games that I still find a lot of enjoyment from. It
Absolutely.
doesn't mean, it's not a bad game, but it has flaws. It could have improvements in certain areas to make it a better experience, sure. But at the end of the day, I still enjoyed my time with it.
Hmm.
And go ahead. Yeah.
I personally prefer I honestly really like the letter grade system because it shows that it's not as objective, that there is more, at least in my opinion, the subjectivity is the important part of a review. And I think that it gets across, it's not the usual look at a number and that's the score. It's a letter grade, so there's more flexibility in what you're
Yes.
giving it. There's a wider range in a C than there is for a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10. Also, I want to point out that those don't always necessarily equate. I was looking up some old reviews where I'm going to take a game, Half-Life 2, and that game across the board was just almost strictly the highest grade possible. On IGN, it's a 9.7. GameSpot gave it a 9.2. Even XPlay gave it a 5 out of 5. But then you go to a game like Dragon Age 2 with those same three sources. IGN gave it an 8.5. GameSpot gave it an 8. I give it a fucking -3.5. XPlay gave it a 3 out of 5. Those, you can see how a 3 out of 5 in your head kind of equates to an 8 out of 10, because when you enlarge the scale, you have more to play around with. But when you do the math, it doesn't add up the same.
Yeah.
A 3 out of 5 would be technically a 6 out of 10, but that's not the grade they were giving it.
And
It's not
that's
the
what I
review they
perceive
were
it as.
giving
I when you said 3 out of 5, I'm like, oh, that's like a D. Then I right away was like, that's bad.
When you think like games or X Play, there was only a short period of time where they did 0.5s. Everything else was just full numbers. It was a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and there's no room in between there. So you can have a wide range just in that 3 category that can span anywhere from what IGN would give a 5 all the way up to maybe a 7.5, just depending on, I guess, how you're feeling when you're writing it and how you want to interpret that 3 out of 5. That's why I really liked XPlay, because it wasn't so set in stone. It always had just it was, you could look at it and get a feel for what it was, but there was room for interpretation along the way, which is, I think, is important.
So for us over at Geek Freaks, we started out by doing the number system 1 to 10, and there became a time where it was like, man, okay, we have to add 0.5s and point whatevers you wanted to add, just because it got to where we needed more nuance. And then, I mean, I'm telling you guys, it was one of those things that racked all of our brains, and I still think it's far from perfect. Actually, I have a perfect system I've been kind of pitching. But what came, I remember, is Death Stranding, and it's freaking Daniel. Daniel gave Death Stranding a perfect 10. And I'm like, okay, so in my opinion, if you're going to give it a 10, like I'm not including IGN stuff right here, if you're giving it a 10, that means there's nothing to fix in that game. So I asked him, you're telling me there's absolutely nothing you would change about that game? We had never given it a 10 before that. You're never going to change anything. Well, maybe this, maybe that. No, the game's perfect, though. So then, okay, if the game is perfect, then it deserves a 10. But then if later on you tell me that you didn't want something about whatever, the music was wrong, then it's something different. And it actually created heat in our podcast after the recording.
Oh, shit.
Like, yeah. I was like, that's such bullshit, dude. You do not give something a 10 when you think there might be something you fix. That's not what a 10 is. And we just had a different understanding of what a 10 was. So, Frank, while I was driving around thinking about the podcast all damn day, I thought, like, let's do the grades because an A plus isn't technically a 10 out of a 10. There's a little bit of leeway, so we could pretend like there's something there, and that's why the grades came in. Now, personally, I still don't like the grades either because I think we give way too many Bs, and I think we give too many Bs because the Bs are really a big section. It's like, late 70s to early 90s. You're talking a big section of stuff. Now, the San Francisco Chronicle, I was looking this up. So the San Francisco Chronicle gives the best version of a ratings ever. And what they do for a movie, they show a little stick figure guy or a little guy, and if he's sitting in his chair slumped over, that's one of the ratings. This is for a movie. Or if he's at attention in his chair, or if he's clapping in his chair, or if he's standing out of his chair. So a movie is one of those four things. So and right away I'm like, that's perfect, because when I'm watching Andor, I'm paying attention. I'm sitting up in my chair. I'm not standing up and clapping yet, which I think is a perfect score. And so I'd like for us to find something like that. And I would think like the AM, the plus and minuses would be if you're using your cell phone at all, because there's so many times I'm on Twitter, something like that. So
no, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it. It's
got?
how far reclined back you are and how cozy you are.
And like an F is when you're just sleeping.
I would like to hear the podcast version of that though. Like, how do you say that over an audio
I know.
format? Like, yes, I give this a slump.
That's what's
all the way back cozy.
I'm telling you, I have been thinking about how to make that work because I think it's so much better. How attentive were you to the thing you're watching? I don't know. It's tough, man. Yeah.
Well, let's dive into the article, shall we?
All right, that sounds good.
So we've given our own perspectives on what we grade games by. So let's read off IGN's real quick. So IGN says here, when they give a game a 10, they're not calling it perfect. They define it instead as a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Which means that their reviewer gives it the highest possible recommendation and believes its ideas could have a significant influence on games in the future. Now, for me, that makes a lot of sense. I think
like that.
10 out of 10s are pushing the industry forward as a whole. What do you think?
I like the term masterpiece. That really sounds good.
Yeah, I also agree. When I am thinking of a review, I don't tend to think of what it does for other games or the genre. I just think of it in a bubble. And that's how I like to review things, because that's how I buy things. I don't think of, if I spend money on DLC for The Binding of Isaac, is it really going to push the boundaries of video games so that the next Fortnite DLC can be... I try to think of games self-contained, so I disagree with the premise of how they define that, but I agree with exactly what they said, because it's all subjective and there's always room for your own level of interpretation in that. So masterpiece is a great way to define a 10 out of 10.
I agree. I think masterpiece is an all-encompassing description for what, it's as close as you can get to a perfect game without any definitive faults.
And see, in that, they're taking what to me seems like a 10 out of 10, and they're giving it the nuance that is so hard with a 10 out of 10. So if they consider 10 out of 10 a masterpiece, they're saying that it's not necessarily perfect, like they said in that article, which is smart, because I think if you were to say something is like infallible, you'll never give that grade out. And they give it out often, I think, actually.
They actually do. This article has, I think, 25 games listed that are 10 out of 10. And there's definitely some in here I disagree that it's not a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So I was going to go down the list with you guys if that's something you want to explore together.
Heck yeah.
Hold hands together, skip down the lane,
Yes, the Yellow Brick Road.
So I guess we'll just do this one by one.
Let's do it, man.
So this one is really interesting. Celeste is the first one. And there was a remarkable split between the vote. Like only 28% agree that it's a 10 out of 10. And that really shocked me because I actually do think it's a 10 out of 10. And I know you guys haven't played the game fully, but I feel like anyway, it is a masterpiece of its genre. Like platforming in this game is so satisfying. The music is incredible. Presentation is top notch. I love the pixel art and the story as well. Like how it explores the journey of a trans character. Like I felt I can't relate to that at all. Mm-hmm. And it really opened my eyes to what, people go through during that ordeal or that, character defining experience. and it just really wraps it all up in a perfect package and really skillful game too. Like it really challenged me as a gamer, and I really enjoyed it for that.
Yeah, the key is the genre thing. I think if you were to only poll people that like that genre, I don't think the polls would show what they're showing now. But if you're polling people who don't necessarily play just Celeste type platformers or think Celeste is too hard because it's not their kind of game, then they're definitely gonna say it's not a 10 out of 10. Like myself, I can't beat Celeste, guys. I don't have the patience for that. And so I automatically don't think Celeste is worth a 10 out of 10 because of that. But if I were in that genre, Elden Ring, same thing. I'm not going to give Elden Ring a perfect score because the game's too damn hard. That's my fault, and yet my bias is there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to give it the grade it deserves.
That immediately goes back to the who is this game for thing. I agree with Celeste being a 10 out of 10 because it was not only a very good platformer, like Kyle was saying, but the story, even if you don't relate to that specific story, there's still some level that you can that anybody playing it can relate to with emotional strife and the way that it hits all the notes of overcoming your obstacles that you impose on yourself or that society has imposed on you. Everybody can relate to that, and it's just it does push the medium forward, I believe. So even by IGN standards, I agree that it's a 10 out of 10.
That's a good note to touch on because the story has a lot of conflict within the character herself or himself in this case, and over time, like the way I relate to that is I have self doubt, as any one of us probably does, and I took that as personal, like a relatable experience, and it really did, change my perspective on my own conflict with that in my own life, and it really helped me kind of gain a better understanding of that. And I really appreciate the game for pushing that narrative forward.
For me, it created more self-doubt because I could never make the damn jumps in time.
See, that was how I interpreted a lot of what the game was, because it did it through the guise of you can do this, you can overcome this, and it was kind of pushing the player to be like, all right, you're right, I can fucking do this, let's go.
But think of how defeating it is when you're like, oh, wait a minute, I can't.
No, I stopped playing the game
away.
too. I stopped playing the game too, but the fact that it did keep encouraging you along the way while doing that under the guise of the story that it was telling you, I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Also, one of the best instances of why a double jump exists in the game. I won't spoil it, but it's really good.
Interesting.
All right, so we're moving on. Last of Us, 10 out
Going
of 10.
forward, real quick before you say it, why don't we guess? Because I haven't clicked on any of them, just Celeste. What if we guess on whether people think it should be a 10 out of 10 or not? Because I think that's generally, I think the people reading these articles are like a real general group of gamers. You're not going to have any particular, but certain games like The Last of Us, I think kind of appeal to a bigger group than Celeste does.
Okay, I'll restart that then.
Okay.
All right, so moving on to The Last of Us, 10 out of 10. Any guesses as to whether the audience or the readers of this article agree that it's a 10 out of 10?
I'm going to say, since I don't think it is, that most readers did think it was, because I tend to disagree with the majority of people.
I think they did.
Yeah, I think the story is so popular that it's got a TV show coming out pretty soon. I think it's going to be a majority say 10 out of 10.
And just the backlash that the sequel got. The original's on a pedestal.
Ooh,
so
point.
Yeah, there is a 75-25 split that it is a 10 out of 10.
Yep.
That's a good chunk. Damn.
I am inclined to agree with this. I think Last of Us is a 10 out of 10. And if you guys want to go first, I'll let you go first.
I didn't care for the game, and the story that it told was great. But that was, in my opinion, all that the story had for me, or all that the game had for me personally. The controls were okay. I'm not big on the Uncharted style of, I don't know. There's that feeling that you get when you're playing an Uncharted game or The Last of Us, the character action cover shooter type game. I know there's more nuance and ambiance to The Last of Us than there is in a game like Uncharted. But it just felt more generic with horror elements that I don't care for. The story was good, but to me, that was about it.
To me, the story was so good that it highlights the reason gaming, I think, is better than movies in a lot of ways. Because you became Ellie and Joel, you became them. And the kind of pressure that puts on you can only be captured in. I mean, I'm not going to watch Jurassic Park and think, like, is a T-Rex behind me? No. But if I'm playing as, Dr. Grant, there's a chance. I will also say what's interesting is 5,000 more people voted for this on this poll than they did for the Celeste one. So there's even just more interest in general for this game than Celeste.
Yeah, I think Last of Us, at the time it came out, 2013, and you brought up Uncharted earlier, Kevin. I think that's something important to think about because they had the whole Uncharted trilogy before making The Last of Us. And, going off of IGN's definition, I do agree with them that it is a masterpiece of its genre. It pushes the action adventure narrative based storytelling game to a whole nother plateau of excellence. And I think for me, that story is still, I can remember pretty much every story beat in that game because of how profound it was. And yeah, the gameplay was awesome. I played through it 3 times and I haven't played the remake yet, but I'm going to wait for that to drop down before playing again.
Yeah, I just, this always, reviews suck. To me, I hate reviews. Like,
Same.
I love writing them. I love giving my opinions, but just giving that definite score is so hard to think about because I'm gonna hit on this point over and over again. A 10 out of 10 for somebody is not a 10 out of 10 for somebody else, and that's
Okay.
hard.
I want to push this further. So if you don't agree with the 10 out of 10, what would you give it?
I didn't finish it.
Still, review it. Quick fire review.
Oh, no.
I won't do the full quickfire review, but I would honestly give it about a 7 because
Wow, a 7.
a 7 out of 10 or a B. See, that's the weird thing.
Yeah.
Is that a 7 out of 10
That's
would
a C.
technically be a C,
Yeah.
but I'd give it a B out of that, or I'd give it a 3 out of 5, which is back to a 6. So it's really weird. They're all different scales, but the game didn't hit any notes with me. I'm not a father for one, so the story didn't quite have that big of an impact on me. The gameplay it definitely, it felt good, but it wasn't the type of game that I like to play. And the setting and everything to it it didn't appeal to me at all. But I can recognize that it was a well-made, well-constructed game.
You know what's funny? So I'm scrolling through the article, getting ahead of us, just kind of get an idea where we're at. I come across the game, I won't say yet which one. And my immediate reaction is like, bullshit, that's 10 out of 10. IGN, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And then I scroll down a little bit further. I'm like, oh, nobody's gonna agree with me, but that game is actually 10 out of 10. So it's amazing how much investment goes into it. Like, I'm personally offended that this game got 10 out of 10. Like, you guys are crazy. So I'm wondering if people ever had that feeling with us, because really we're just trying to let you know before you buy what we think of it. I've also talked to people, game developers, who cannot stand the fact that people do that, including us, because then people don't buy the game if we happen to give it a bad review. So Kevin's whole "who's this for" is, to me, now the way reviews should really be done, because I think that's because while some games I think are bullshit, but for the right person, that game is perfect.
Well, there are other things that can be done too. Like, I think that review by committee could be fun. Like, we get a roundtable review, essentially, get 3 to 5 people to all give a score, and don't give it an average of everybody's score. Just say, I'm this kind of player, it's a 7 for me. I'm this kind of player, it's an 8 for me. So I think that would be another fun way of going about it.
That's so perfect, because like if I'm interested in a roguelike, I'm going to favor whatever your score is. Or if I'm interested in an open world game, I'll favor Kyle, or even more so mine score. I think that's a really good way to do it.
It's like a curated Metacritic, essentially.
Oh,
or a personalized Metacritic.
That sounds sexy too.
I think a score is still vitally important, though, because it lets your audience know like what your basis is for your critical thinking on the game and your appreciation of it. And I think a committee review score is really decent because it takes into account a wide variety of perspectives, but it's lacking that definitive, objective scoring.
Which for me is the point. It should lack that to me. In my opinion, it should. But you can't be an IGN without that definitive number. IGN needs that.
You also can't be ignorant without IGN.
You can't spell ignorant without IGN.
That's how it was. Yeah, I had to say it.
Clip. I'm just going to throw that out there. That's a good clip. Nice job.
I don't think you can be as big as IGN is without having a click, like a number that somebody could see, click on it, and get the review
Yeah,
for. Like
absolutely.
it's absolutely necessary, and IGN can't change the way they do things, or otherwise there'd be too much backlash anyway because people hate change.
Yeah.
But me personally, I hate saying that a game that Kyle would see as a 10 out of 10 is a 6 out of 10 for me, but I'd still recommend it to more people than I'd recommend Celeste to. Like, because it's for a different audience.
Totally.
That's a good point. All right,
So moving on.
Yeah, let's get to the next one. We'll
All
break in with more shit. I'm sure. I've
We'll
already got
try
a couple
and
spicy ones.
go faster on these.
Oh, we don't even need to go through it. The point for me of talking about each of these games is to bring up more discussion like this.
Right. I'm just saying it's nice to go to the next games to break up that discussion,
Yeah,
so it's not
absolutely.
just fully.
Moving on.
So interestingly, Last of Us Part 2, they gave a 10 out of 10. And I'm predicting that it is not a 10 out of 10.
I think that you're absolutely right that the fan base did not think that was a 10 out of 10.
I think it's more contested than I mean, whether or not people think it's 10 out of 10, I think it's definitely way more hotly debated than it is the first game.
Wow, you're right. It was a 50-50 almost.
Yeah. I looked
49
at
for
the
yes,
score already.
51 for no.
So we were all
I
technically
cheated.
right.
Yeah.
You know, I played Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
I played the game in a single weekend. That's how much I was looking forward to it. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10. And I've given my reasons for this before. I think maybe in classic, no, not classic pushing buttons, really early on in the first season on Geek Freaks Network. And I just think it falls short of what made The Last of Us Part 1 so well made. I think it has a lot to do with the narrative in particular. The introduction of Abby as a character, I did not feel for the same way as I did Joel or Ellie. I know what they were trying to go for, but I just think for me, it's not as, superb as I would have wanted it to be as a Last of Us fan. I wanted the story to go in a different direction, but that's just me.
I wonder how many people who voted on this poll played the game at all, or just going off of the general vibe that happened through social media and pesky podcasts like ours.
I mean, if it wasn't a game as big as Last of Us 2, I'd probably say that a large portion of them didn't play it. But since it is The Last of Us 2, I'm guessing a lot, if not most of them, did play it, at least most of it.
Yeah.
I didn't play it, but I didn't play the first one all the way through either.
I know Daniel was like emotionally distraught. Like I was like, "Hey, how things go?" I was like, "Oh man, I'm playing Last of Us 2 and I'm having a hard time." Like,
I'm sure
like
it
it hit him emotionally, and so
It's
I was
a
like,
pretty
"That's
heavy
gaming,
game.
baby." Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I just feel like the way they structured the story, I think they could have improved the pacing a little bit. It went on a bit longer than it needed to. And certain big decisions that they did with the story, I just felt like for Last of Us fans, it didn't quite resonate very well.
Yeah. Our next game, I'm telling you right now, is the first game where I'm like, it's 10 out of 10. Anybody who says less is a liar.
Half-Life
Red Dead
Alyx?
Redemption. No,
Oh.
we're skip. No. I'm sorry. I'm going right to Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm sorry.
I just want to mention it real quick because
Yes.
I do want to play this game. It is incredibly well received. It's VR only though, and you can't grade a 10 out of 10 if you can't even afford what you need to play it. Like I
Right.
know there's people with high-end PCs. I have a high-end PC, but I don't have a VR headset. I could probably
Right.
get one if I wanted to. But I feel like that's such a huge barrier of entry to play one single game. It's just like I don't know if I could justify that score.
Yeah.
Well, when God of War Ragnarok comes out, think the same thing. The barrier of entry for getting a PS5.
Okay, you got me there because I did buy a PS5 for God of War.
Exactly. I mean, God of War is, I think, on a different level than Half-Life Alyx. Just gonna throw
Agreed.
that out there.
Yes.
Interestingly, 44-55 split on that one for no leading.
Really?
Yeah.
Only 8,000 votes as well. So not a very big audience compared to the
Oh,
others.
Yeah.
because it's VR. Yeah, the
Yeah.
very.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know
pressure.
why I was thinking it's like trying to review the Wii Fit games. Like, damn it, I gotta buy a Wii Fit now. Those were big back in the day, man.
So Red Dead Redemption 2, is it a 10 out of 10?
Yeah, I mean, like, not even a question. It's the best story in gaming. It's the best world experience. It's just a actually perfect game. The only problem is what happens at the end. but everything else is perfect in that game. All right, Kyle.
Man,
Kevin.
calling
Kevin.
something the best story in gaming.
I think it is. Yeah.
That is, man. There are like stories can be so good to other
I know.
other stories to other people. Like it's just
This
a
is the best
really
story to
strong
me.
Okay,
in
okay,
gaming.
okay.
There we
okay.
go. There we
I was
go.
like, that's a strong statement.
Yeah.
I would have to agree with Frank. Not the best, but one of the best stories in gaming.
Fair.
I agree.
I didn't play it. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
What
Not
would you give
surprised.
it then?
I, I okay. Hypothetically, if I were to review it after not playing it, because I don't review games if I don't play them, I give them first impressions. Red Dead Redemption 2 was probably a 7.5 or a 4.
Oh,
I hate you.
Also a B.
so
Everything's
70,
a B.
73% said yes. This is a 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah, I
14,000
imagine.
votes.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we can really deep dive into this. I think we did a level up on this game, if I'm not mistaken.
We did. Yeah, we did.
And yeah, it was really incredible. I
God, yeah.
loved every second of it. I had to take a break in between just to give myself like breathing room because I was so
Yeah.
overwhelmed with how good it was. If that makes sense.
The part where you go off to the island is like so well timed to be like, good, this is a good time for me to kind of step away for a second and just process what's been going on with this group. Yeah, it's that
So
good.
I'm going to take a little bit to defend my stance here. I'm not going to say it's a bad game, but the thing that takes me out of the game is the stuff that's supposed to put you into the game. So the story, probably great. The gameplay, like the gunplay, riding a horse, talking to people, all great. It's the simulation-esque experience that is the game that takes me out of it because it feels like it's trying to be a Western simulator, but with very gamey game mechanics. Like,
I heavily disagree with that.
see,
Like,
and that
for me, that's what made the game so good.
and that's what takes me out of the game.
It's
It
amazing.
it takes so much time to do stuff, and it just seems like you're just doing it just for the sake of checking off another box. And it just made me realize I was playing a game, and it just, yeah, it took me out of it.
Well, just to, put myself forward here, I think what made the game so well done was the fact that you could easily transition from doing your own thing or following the story. And you could just, take all sorts of side roads to get to your objective and encounter so many different things along the way. Like
So
they had these little scripted events that would happen in random
Yeah.
places,
Oh,
and
so cool.
that made the game so much more real to
When
me.
you get like raided, sorry, real quick, I know you're about to jump in, Kevin. When you get like jumped by like the Ku Klux Klan, and that's like out of nowhere, then you're like, and by the way, I love that the game puts like nothing against you. Like if you kill a townsperson, that's bad. You kill a KKK member, it's like have that. And so you're like unloading the clip, it's great.
Those little moments, I think, is what elevated it to a masterpiece for me.
So, and the reason why I am on the other end of that is because if you don't have the time to play it, or you're like me and have super ADHD, particularly when it comes to video games, I can't finish anything in life, much less finish a video game. So, having things that take me out of finishing a game and just like experiencing it, that's great. I used to love that kind of stuff, but my brain doesn't work that way anymore. I can't do it. Like, if I'm playing Assassin's Creed 2, for instance, for a random example that's out there right now, I'm climbing a tower. I'm checking off every single thing that's on the way because I have to pay attention to what I'm doing. And I just, yeah, focusing on one task, then I go to the next, then I go to the next. There's nothing interrupting me in between tasks. And that is technically a worse way of playing a game, but it's the way that fits most with my brain and how I function as a human. So that I just wanted to throw that out there that I agree Red Dead Redemption 2, I can't even believe I brought up a Ubisoft game to compare it to, but while Red Dead Redemption 2 is a much better game than Assassin's Creed 2, for me Assassin's Creed 2 is more fun to play because I don't have to keep getting sidetracked. I can focus on one task and then the next and the next. It's my brain's weird.
I mean, multitasking, I think that's what you're talking about. That's difficult for me as well. But when a game actually presents like a viable I guess using your words, a distraction or something.
Yeah.
Like, I feel compelled to, feel jarred a little bit. But what Red Dead does, it makes it so seamless, I don't even notice that. And I feel
Okay.
like,
Yes.
I could easily drop what I was doing to address this current situation in front of me, and I'm not feeling interrupted by it, even though it technically is an interruption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does it really well.
Horizon tries that. Horizon Forbidden West and all that. They try to do that where it feels seamless, but it isn't seamless. You realize what like, hey, I have to collect stuff to get arrows or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So I didn't think about it before. You're right. The fact that it's so seamless makes it even better. Yeah. Perfect
Very
game.
good. Very good. So now, Frank, here's
Yeah.
your game of the year or game of all time, GTA 5.
Yeah, actually, it's tough because I'd actually say Red Dead's. I have played GTA 5 more times, but I'd probably say Red Dead's the better game. But yeah, GTA 5 I also think is. God, is it 10 out of 10 though? I would say this one would have to. It would. It's not as cement as Red Dead is for me. I could see myself going to a 9.5.
How about
Yeah,
you,
just
Kevin?
because of the repeatable.
Um, I don't. I fuck. Like GTA 3
RP.
was good. It was really good. I haven't cared for GTA since San Andreas, so I think that most people did think it was a 10 out of 10 though. At least,
You,
well, it depends. It depends because when the game came out on the first or the second generation of systems that it came out on, most people probably thought it was a 10 out of 10. I don't know if by this point people would still think that.
you know what? I didn't play GTA 5 when it first came out in 2013. I played it much later in 2016, and I didn't think it was a 10 out of 10. But maybe back in 2013, it was this all encompassing game that was so boundary pushing, people labeled it as a 10 out of 10, which understandably, people are thinking that still because it's a 65-35 split with 65 going to yes. And, for me, GTA San Andreas is my personal favorite out of the entire franchise.
Yep.
I consider that to be a true 10 out of 10 because of how much it pushed the boundaries of the open world game at the time. GTA 5 probably did that in 2013. I just wasn't aware of it.
Well, that and it's really hard to take into account the longevity of the game because the game is still actively played today in
Amazingly.
2022.
Yes.
So a game that's been out for 9 years, it's given it a lot of time to actively go down in people's mind from a 10 to something else. So I'm surprised that it's a 65-35 split in the favor of yes. I thought it would have been way closer to a 50-50 given the longevity of the game.
Frank, you're the expert. What do you think?
Oh shit. About what? I'm sorry. I'll have to edit around that. I was just going over the next games that we're going over and like some of the games get shitted on. I'm sorry. What was it again? I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, that's cool. What is your opinion on GTA 5? Is it a 10 out of 10?
Okay.
You just gave Red Dead 2 a 10 out of
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, I don't know, man. GTA 5 I think is nearly a perfect game. There might be some things that hampered it. What's hard is Red Dead Redemption took what GTA 5 did right and just made it better. So I think while that one is so easy to give perfect grade to, I think GTA 5 might slip a little bit, and I can't exactly tell you why. I mean, there's the yoga mini game, right? For example, that feels like you're stopping to get that done, and then there's the port game where you have to like try to like put the things on the port. So there are things slowing you down in that game that reminds you that you're not in a world, you're in a game, and that's why it can't be perfect to me, but very very high.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. I think we got that one covered. Next up is a game I talked a lot about this year is Elden Ring. Now, what do you guys think? 10 out of 10? Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, easily, I would say the first half of the game is a 10 out of 10, but the second half, not so much. My opinion on the game changed over the course of my gameplay. I did explore everything. I put like 180 hours into the game.
God
So
damn.
definitely subjective.
It's not even a sky.
It is a fantastic game. Like easily everything from software learned up to this point they put into this game. And it is a fantastic game. It does push the Souls like into new territory with the open world design. And for that, I do give it 10 out of 10 for, but I feel like there's definitely some shortcomings, especially in the second half of the game. they have a lot of repeatable environments and enemies. So it does kind of feel like, been there, done that at a certain point in the game. The actual ending, though, is incredible. Like, that's 10 out of 10 to me. But, that's another thing you have to take into account is certain segments of the game are perfect, but others are not. So altogether, does that make a 10 out of 10?
Yeah, I think if there's any part of the game that isn't a 10 out of 10, then that's hampering the game's pacing. So therefore, it takes a hit. It's just like a movie,
Right.
how many times have you guys heard this? Like, oh, you gotta check out the show, but you gotta get past the first 3 episodes or the first season, and then it's like, then why am I watching a show that I have to watch an entire season of bad stuff to get to good stuff? That being said, I do say that often, and so yeah, I don't think a game can be perfect if it doesn't have a good ending or something like
That's
that.
precisely what I'm getting at because the next
Okay.
game, Bloodborne, I do think is a 10 out of 10 for that same reason. It's got the best pacing of the entire Soulsborne franchise. Interestingly, it's got more of a split. It's 54-45.
Hmm.
But at the time it came out, there's nothing else like it. Bloodborne is an amazing game. I think that's more of a 10 out of 10 than Elden Ring is.
I find it interesting that it has 2,000 less votes, but that's not a big difference than Elden Ring when you compare it. Like, Bloodborne was PlayStation exclusive. Elden Ring's on everything. So I think it's interesting that there's only 2,000 difference. You know,
Definitely
Mostly
something to take into
PlayStation
account.
Yeah.
Kevin, any thoughts on those two games?
I'm sure they're fun.
They are.
I don't care about them. Like, the thing that I'm trying to wrap my head around is this perfect versus masterpiece thing still. And Frank
Yeah.
said that Elden Ring can't be a 10 out of 10 because there's parts of it that Kyle says are worse than other parts of it. To me, it's how you leave them. Like, they say that all the time with TV shows, with anything. It's the end, the beginning and the end are the most important parts.
Yes.
And that's what you'll typically, in most games, maybe not so much in games, but in TV shows and movies, that's what you'll remember the most, is the beginning and the end. Games are a little bit different because you're an active participant in them, but the ending of a game being so good would probably push a 9 out of 10 up to a 10 out of 10 for. That's how I feel about Mass Effect. Is that Mass Effect to me is a 10 out of 10, the original Mass Effect, because of how hard the ending hit me and how much the story, specifically at the end, the exploration at the beginning and the story at the end, that raised everything else in between to a 10. Even though it's not a perfect game, it's still a masterpiece in my mind.
I think
yeah.
there's a good
Had nothing
argument
to do
between
with
the two. Like, is it the beginning and the end, or is it the journey in between? Like, what do you value more as a player?
It also depends on the style of game, honestly.
It really
Yeah,
does.
it does.
Like, Bloodborne being more linear than Elden Ring, I think that is a much better path for being more memorable of a game. Open world, you can kind of get lost in the elements a little bit. And Elden Ring, you can definitely feel that at times. But that's basically a symptom of every open world game. I feel like even Red Dead 2, which we loved, there's moments where you can get, sidetracked way too far, like Kevin was feeling. And yeah, I think Bloodborne compared to Elden Ring, I think Bloodborne does feel better to play because of that. The pacing.
Yeah, I think what we're continually coming back to, like, I'm having a hard time, like you're saying, Kevin, with the splitting up of masterpiece versus perfect, and I think it's just like, man, I just keep coming back to the fact that, like, reviewing games and reviewing stuff is very tricky. It's not like it's something easy, and yet for a lot of content creators, it's so needed because when you throw in something review, we're actually seeing it literally this week, guys. We just put review on the end of a thing that Kevin made, and it doubled the views of the videos around it, and it's just because it's got the word review in it. So it's something we can't get rid of, but man, it is so hard to do. So I just, after listening to this, guys, just remember, take it easy on us. We're trying.
It's hard.
Not just on us, but honestly,
Yeah.
I think that people put so much weight into a specific review. Like, I know when I'm looking at a game that I've never heard of before or never seen, the first thing I do if I'm even halfway interested in it. Okay, I'll give an example. Shovel Knight Dig just came out,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what that game was. The first thing I do is type IGN review Shovel Knight Dig into YouTube, and I watched it. That's the first thing I do because there's such a trusted source. And what I want to get across for video game reviews is to not take that number or exact even what they say, because who knows the person that reviewed it, who knows what their forte in video games is. They could be specifically an open world GTA Red Dead Redemption style gamer that got stuck with the indie game, or they could be an indie game enthusiast that got stuck reviewing Red Dead Redemption 2. Like
Yeah.
it's very, just don't put so much weight into it. There is a little bit of accountability on the person watching the review to take it with a grain of salt.
Absolutely. And moving into God of War 2018, I feel like that can appeal to a really wide audience of players. Like, even though it was exclusive to PlayStation 4 on its initial release, we saw it released on Steam this year, and it sold over, I think, over 1 million copies. I don't know the specific number, but it did really well. And looking at the poll, I think you all can agree we think it's a 10 out of 10 game, correct?
Under the strict thing of masterpiece, yeah, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, I
I'm having to do
heavily
that.
think God of War 2018 is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The audience agrees. 78% versus 22% for yes. It is a 10 out of 10. It was our 2018 Game of the Year for Pushing Buttons Classic. Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of good games in 2018. Red Dead 2, Celeste, The Messenger, like all
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Thank you.
There's a 10 out of 10 right there.
I
And
disagree.
I disagree as well, but
Oh my God.
I think what God of War does well is it takes all of the modern gaming systems that we're familiar with and pretty much perfects the path of progression for the player, as well as adding a really good narrative and combining that with a really good presentation with audio, graphics, like all in one package.
Yeah.
It's an amazing game.
It did an extraordinary job of blending fun gameplay with the cinematography of a movie. Like it felt like you were playing a badass character in a movie that was 30 hours or so long. Like, I don't feel like I wasted a single moment playing that game. That is hard for me to say. There are a lot of games that when I'm at work, I think, oh man, I can't wait to get home and play this game. But I always feel like with every game that I'm wasting some of my time doing something I don't want to do. And in God of War, I didn't get that feeling at all that I can recall, which is very weird for me to say. Because even in The Binding of Isaac, my golden, like, holy grail for a video game, I feel like a lot of the time is wasted unlocking stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's a good way to put it.
I spent every hour I could 100% in this game. I loved every second of it. Fighting even the hidden boss fights, the Valkyries. I loved that challenge. It was amazing to overcome that. And, this game also had the challenge of being a reboot for God of War. And, it's been, I think, when did God of War 3 come out? Like 2010?
Something like
it
that.
was almost a decade since we got a full, I mean, we got like the prequel Ascension and all that stuff before. But, God of War 2018 had that really hard task of rebooting Kratos as a new character. And I think they did that extremely well in this game.
Well, they also
Again,
kept...
Yeah, Dad Simulator. But
Right. But they kept all the past stuff alive, too. Like, it
Yes.
all happened. It wasn't a full-on, like, reboot in the traditional sense. It was a reboot as far as video games are concerned. But it kept everything that happened in the past of Kratos alive and just made the character progress from there, and now had a new starting point. So, yeah, phenomenal job. Just, I cannot wait for Ragnarok. Oh, man.
I know, 2 more months, baby. Can't wait. Oh, yeah.
What did you think of that, Frank? I know you said if you're thinking of it as a masterpiece, it's a 10 out of 10. So, obviously, there were some things about it that you didn't care for.
Yeah, so first off, it was my first God of War game. So I will say I think it was a good one to come in on, right?
Good.
It was so good. I really
Nice.
love the game, and again, day one purchase on Ragnarok. I would say that there were things where like the puzzles felt like they slowed the game down a little bit. I did make the game normal to which I'm now beyond the negative stereotype of that basically. But yeah, it was a really good game. Like I can't suggest this game enough to everybody. It is a masterpiece. But it's so hard because, again, my brain keeps going back to the fact that is it perfect? No. So that it can't be, so I'm just shaking that off. It's a masterpiece. I'm going to stick with that, though. So, yeah, it's a masterpiece. But puzzles slowed it down. I don't know. Overworld was clunky. All right, I'm done. It was good.
I liked the overworld.
I did too. I loved the hub, how it was the center of everything. I can't remember the name of it now, the bridge that, goes to the other realms. I loved everything about that design and the Bifrost. And, it even had compelling side characters and side missions. Like
Yes.
Ymir is one of my all-time favorite side characters in the game. Like I loved his dialogue with Kratos, how he was kind of like a mentor in this Nordic world. Like I loved hearing all of his renditions of all the tales of the gods of Norse mythology. It was just such a great game. I love.
He's back in Ragnarok too, by the way.
I know.
Yeah. I remember being in the boat just like hanging out for a while so I could let him finish his story. I didn't want to stop it, so
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, if you guys are good on God of War, I can quickly knock out the next few real
Yeah,
fast.
because we only have like maybe 10 minutes before we hit over an hour. So
Okay, Inside, no, and lots of people said no. That sounds right. Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 14, nope. World of Warcraft exists.
yes,
80%
okay.
said
I
no.
will say this is the one when I was looking down at it, I'm like, there's no fucking way that game's perfect.
No,
that
it's
game's
not.
not a masterpiece. And so
It's a good game, but yeah,
Sure. I'll give it.
I think World of Warcraft is a masterpiece because it did it first.
Thank you, Kyle. Okay, see, this is why I listen to Kyle and his reviews. This is why you find your one source.
They're all still MMOs, so that immediately takes like points. Like maximum, the cap for an MMO for me is like a 6.5.
Oh God. Oh man.
Metal Gear Solid 5, I have such a passion for Metal Gear. I want to say it's a 10 out of 10, but it's not. The gameplay is phenomenal in that game, one of the best all-time stealth games. The Witness, no. I don't know if you guys played that one.
Nope.
I didn't finish it. I barely played any of it.
Oh, by the way, Final Fantasy 14, 80% said no. Metal Gear Solid 5, 62% said no.
Makes sense.
Witness, no. 84%.
What you'll
almost.
see is the more popular games got like either middling or yes. But I was going through all of them, and like if the games are a little less known, then usually most people think it's a no. And it's like, did you guys play the game? That's what I want to know. Because there's no way that 8,000 people, the same 8,000 people that voted for The Witness, also voted for something like Bloodborne, and it's close numbers. So it's kind of, you can't trust the voting, just like you can't trust reviews,
Yeah, I think all these games, I don't think any of you guys have played them, so that's why I'm doing this real fast. If that's okay.
Yeah.
I think I didn't explain Inside. Inside, I said no because Limbo is a better game. Super
fair.
Mario Odyssey, I think it's a no because of motion controls. A lot of people said yes.
I think it's really good.
I think it's a
People-
9 out of 10. It's a
people-
9.
63% said yes, it is a 10 out of 10.
Yikes. It's that Nintendo fanboyism.
It is, yeah.
That's fair.
People will
That's
go to
totally
bat the
fair.
same way for Breath of the Wild, even with its
We're gonna get that
flaws.
one soon, and then even with the next one has its own fanism of like JRPGs or
Persona 5 Royal. I
Yeah.
haven't played it.
or anime stuff like that.
I don't know. I haven't played Persona games, so it's a 50-50 split on that one.
Yeah,
There's no answers there, really.
It
Except
really-
it's,
yeah.
it's a good game, apparently.
it's a little to me like I think it's a little too crowded. I think it's a little too clunky, stuff like that. But I mean, again, if you're that kind of a person or that kind of a fan, then it's up your alley for sure.
Microsoft Flight Simulator,
Yes.
no, but I'm probably sure it's a 10 out of 10 because it's the only flight simulator in existence.
No, it's really not, but it's the only one
It's
that
the-
needs to
It's the only one.
exist.
Yeah, it's
Crusader Kings 3, I'm sure Scott has an opinion.
10 out of
A
10
lot
for
of people
him.
said no. 85% said no. Okay.
Yikes. Okay, that was contentious. Okay.
There's a high skill cap on that game, by the way. I'll say, like, there's a lot of these people who don't know how to play that game. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, Spelunky 2. Here you go, Kevin.
Not a 10 out of 10 at
Take it
all.
away.
It's not a 10 out of 10. The first one was better because it was so new and unique. The second one's technically a better game because it added stuff to it, but the first one already exists, so the second one doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't.
90% said no.
Yeah, it
so this
doesn't
is the biggest
differentiate
split so
itself.
far.
Yeah, it doesn't differentiate itself from the first one enough to warrant being a 10 out of 10.
But if you're taking the game without the first one existing,
Yeah, but you can't. Like it's
Well, that's the problem. Earlier, you were saying that you're not trying to see what's pushing the genre or anything like that.
well, no, but a direct sequel to a game's a different story to me.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because now I'm thinking like Assassin's Creed, but those aren't direct sequels. Yeah. Okay. Fair. Yeah.
So next up, Hades. I would say no.
I'd give
Personally.
it a 10 out of 10.
I'd give it a 10. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. I felt like it can get repetitive because you're going through the same 4 areas each run. Like, it
But
doesn't
every
really do
run
enough.
is so
That's-
unique.
Yeah. That's kind of
I
the
know.
roguelike thing too.
I felt like I'd seen everything after about 30 hours, and I didn't feel compelled to continue.
I could see that. Yeah.
That's fair.
But
If
you know,
you're a
for
roguelike,
roguelikes,
if
yeah.
you're a roguelike fan, then it's a 10 out of 10. If you're not, then it's not.
The best thing this game did was the fact that each of the gods has, fully voiced dialogue, and each of them has conversations that are unique that seem to last forever. That's the real roguelike, is
It
how
was
many
fascinating.
conversations these gods can have with each other.
Yeah.
I think that's really what it elevates it to a 10 out of 10.
There was times I can't remember his name, but it's Hades' love interest, or not. That's not his name. Hades isn't his name, but anyways, his love interest just where like you only see him when you're out there, like he like randomly helps you or something like that. I was like, I want more of their conversation. This is like a really good story developing, and so you're like, son of a bitch, where is he? I haven't talked to him in a while, So you're trying to find more of him.
So Forza 5, I haven't played it. I'm sure it's a 10 out of
Motorsport
10
or
for racing.
Horizon?
Horizon,
Horizon
5.
5.
Okay.
Is
It's
it 10 out of
good,
10?
Not 10.
No, it's not a 10. It's close. It's probably an 8.
60% said no. Oh, and by the way, Hades 55-45 split for game of the year. Or 10 out of 10.
It was definitely game of the year.
Yeah, that's for
in my opinion.
Okay, we're down to the final 5, and Breath of the Wild's next. So I do think this is a 10 out of 10.
And I disagree entirely.
Yeah, same.
So 70% said yes.
Yep. It's the Nintendo thing. It's the Zelda thing.
I've talked about this a lot on both classic pushing buttons and modern. God, we gotta stop doing this. Pushing
We
buttons.
talked about it a lot on pushing buttons. Yeah.
There
Yes.
we go.
I love the game. I think it pushes Zelda in a new direction. It breaks the mold of the linear dungeon-based game and makes it into something new, a literal breath of fresh air. The physics system in the game is really fun to play around with. I mean, sure, the weapon breaking system is controversial, but I think it makes sense in the context of the open world. That's me.
For me, the puzzles were not innovative at all. The open world was dull and bland. The colors were great. Like the art style was the only thing, in my opinion, that was good. Besides, the typical Zelda hack and slash combat was also really good.
Did you make it to any other area outside of the main tutorial area?
Yeah,
You
I
did?
played it for like probably 20, 25, maybe even 30 hours.
Yeah.
Man,
I played it for a long time.
what this game does for me is it opens up the potential of Zelda moving forward. I think that's why, to me, it's a masterpiece, because it does something different from the established quo.
See, and I think that that's
Or
good.
Shit, the status quo.
Right. And I think that that's a good thing. I don't think that it necessarily automatically makes it a 10 to me. Like, being a breath of fresh air doesn't necessarily mean it's a masterpiece. I could see how you get starting from it being a breath of fresh air, building on everything else, it could be a masterpiece. But to me, it didn't have enough going for it to be more than like a 7.
Yeah. To me, the best part is the fact that after 20 hours, it still held its value. So when I sold it, it sold well. That was the best
Yeah,
part.
baby.
Yeah.
Ouch. Oh, that's another topic for another time. Deathloop is the first IGN review that tricked me into buying a game on release. It is not a 10 out of 10. It's more like a 6 out of 10.
Ooh,
Yeah, I'm
wow.
on
I
Game Pass now,
disagree
right now,
with
by the
both.
way.
It is a terrible game. I don't like Deathloop.
Wow. Terrible. Wow.
Compared to what they did before with Dishonored, I think Deathloop is a step backwards. It is a mess of a game. Yeah, not a good game.
I thought it was fun. Not fun enough to finish. Not a 6 out of 10, but definitely not a 10 out of 10 either.
It has a lot of problems, and I think, especially when it first released, it was a buggy mess. I couldn't even play the game.
See,
Yeah.
I'd rate it higher than a 6 out of 10, but I'd rate it a 3 out of 5. You do the math. It's so
Don't trick
tricky.
me. Don't try
Yeah.
to trick me.
Just real quick, the only good thing about this game was its premise, and that's it. Everything else about the game is trash. The story's trash. The gameplay's trash.
Damn, dude.
God.
The
Just
only
because you don't like it doesn't mean it's trash.
I know this is some
it's trash.
Fortnite treatment
I'm sorry,
right
it
here.
is. It's trash.
It's not though. Gosh.
Okay, fine. I'll give it art direction. It had good art direction.
The gunplay, like the guns were all pretty cool. The loot system sucked.
No.
The characters
Yes.
were kind of bland and boring.
They were
but
bad. The writing was bad.
I like
Everything
the
about this
back and
game
forth
was
between them.
overhyped. Really bad. Oh, that was the worst part of the game.
Oh, I thought it added a little bit of character. It was not supposed to be Dishonored 3.
Let me
Like,
save you
that's-
some time.
Yes,
The
that's the
girl
point.
is the guy's daughter, and it makes all the banter in
Fucking
between
spoiler
them.
alert! I haven't
nasty.
played it yet. I'm gonna
No.
watch. I went for Game Pass.
You were Darth Revan the whole time? What?
Son of a bitch!
Sorry.
I love how heated this conversation about the efficacy of reviews has gotten.
Because of Deathloop.
Well, I mean, like multiple games so far,
I
I'm just
have
like, this
never
is
felt
bullshit.
more betrayed by IGN.
I think that's the thing that you
Look,
hate
I like
so much
IGN,
about it,
but
is that
yeah.
IGN gave it a 10, so you bought it and
I did.
didn't like it so much. Therefore, it's
I was
less
not
than.
going to buy it. I was not going to buy it because I didn't like the look of it. And they said it's a 10 out of 10 must play. Oh my god,
So-
the time
So
mechanics
who's
are so
who's
cool.
to blame for that then? Is
I
it
am.
IGN giving it a okay? Okay.
Well, I don't think the
That's
game
hard.
is
The
to
same
blame.
thing with Death Stranding. IGN gave it a 6 out of 10, and I bought it anyway to play it. And yeah, I agreed with them. It was a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, IGN is definitely not perfect by no means. I do think they're one of the better video game websites out there, and we do aspire to be them or be like them. And IGN, if you're trying to find a podcast, pushing buttons, I think would fit perfect. But yes, I don't put all my weight on IGN for sure. I definitely check multiple sources. And I think if I could find, not to keep bringing this up, but if I could find something that says, like, if you like X game, then you'll like this game, like Kevin's talking about, I think is your best bet for finding a review for something.
So I know we're at over the hour mark. I had a whole page of notes written for this episode that we didn't touch any of. That there's still so much more. Like there's first impressions, there's sponsored content, there's let's plays and
Yes.
streams,
Yes.
written reviews versus video reviews. There's a whole freaking like we could have this conversation forever.
Yeah.
You could.
And like for me, I'm just gonna throw this out there. The best way that I get an impression of what a game's gonna be like and whether or not I'm gonna buy it is I'll find it on Twitch or I'll find part 3 of a YouTube Let's Play or something that's just like right at the meat of the game that you find what the game's about. You see somebody playing it for the first time with no preconceived notions of what the game is and no fucking number at the end to base your own opinion off of. That's where I get value for finding a review for.
Yeah.
Or
I try to
from.
find the game loop personally for myself. I try to find the game loop or what game is essentially a clone of, because nowadays nobody's original. So I try to find one of those two things. Like I've bought in games that are like, yeah, it's like Minecraft. I'm like, okay, then I'll buy it and I'll try it out. You know.
By the way, if you like this episode, subscribe to the channel. don't know.
Please do.
I'm sorry
give
for
this
spoiling
episode-
Deathloop. I didn't mean to. I just
No.
got so upset, and I honestly
That's
saved
fine.
you some time by doing that because honestly, it is a trash.
I'm gonna try it out in spite of you now. This is a different version of reviews. I want to try it to prove Kyle wrong at this point.
You know what? Now that I think about it, though, my actual favorite review is the one that everybody listening to this episode of Pushing Buttons is going to give Pushing Buttons on Apple Podcasts because we
Ooh, you son
love
of a
you
bitch.
and want you
Yes.
to love us too.
Give us a 10 out
5
of
out
10.
of 5. It's 5. But yeah.
Give
Five
us a
sta-
good review.
Is 5 stars the same as a 10 out of 10, though? See, that's
That's up to debate. Another topic for
Remember,
another time.
topic for another time.
masterpiece, not perfect. Please remember that.
We are the masters of our own design.
Yeah. By the way, out of the next 3 games, you want to just, I mean, Overwatch. I love Overwatch. It's not a 10 out of 10.
Nope.
Undertale's an amazing
Yes,
game.
it
Not
is.
10 out of 10.
I think it is a 10 out of 10.
I'd
You
say
think
the
so?
same.
Disco Elysium, last one. What do you guys think?
I haven't played it, but because it got 10 out of 10, I do want to play it.
Even if they burnt you,
Yes.
that's tough.
All the eggs in the one basket.
We got to see what else there is. Kotaku does a good job too. By the way, actually, Game Radar, I think it is. I'm starting to trust them a little bit more than IGN. Just keep it open, guys. That's a good one.
You know, let's talk about that just for a split second. What is your go-to source for gaming news?
Oh God, this is something I do literally every morning. My go-to spot, believe it or not, is Reddit. Reddit is my number 1 spot for gaming news because
That's fair.
it goes through a filter of You get to see what's actually hot in gaming, and then you go to Reddit, you find what's hot on top, you go down a little bit, you find what's serious, you go down a little bit more, then you find like opinion pieces. So Reddit's really good, and then from there, say I see something like Disco Elysium's the best game ever released, blah 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 blah. Then I'll like, okay, let me see what Kotaku, what IGN, what Games Radar, GameSpot, Screen Rants. They have a new thing called Games Rant. They just started recently. I'll check all those to get kind of a consensus of everything. Polygon's good sometimes, and then we'll put out something in related to that with our opinion in it, or my opinion for that situation.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just do what everybody else should do and just check out Geek Freaks headlines.
Bam.
I've had IGN bookmarked as the first link in my hotbar for my internet browser for a long time. And this actual discussion has made me realize that I need to rethink that.
Well,
Have
if it
more than
works for
one is the
you,
main
that's
thing.
the other thing, though. Is if it works for you, then it works. Then there's nothing wrong with it. It's just when they do you dirty like that, there is a little onus on you, which you even said that there was.
Of course,
So
yeah, he admitted
as
it.
I'm
long
to
as you
blame.
know, as
I'm
long as you
accountable.
know that you're not at fault for or they're not at fault for your opinions or whatever. Yes, there's a level of subjectivity to everything.
And getting
It's the
multiple
hype.
sources. Yeah, you gotta go with multiple things. Like for I'm looking at mine right now. It's Reddit, CBR, Den of Geeks, Deadline, IGN, and there's more. But like there's a bunch of different sources with different opinions. Some that I know, like if I go to Den of Geeks, they do less often, but it's more heartfelt, more truthful content. Deadline is to the second they're going to give you the news. So you go for different places for different news, or different opinions, really. Yeah. And even with podcasts, you don't have to go with only one podcast. Guys, you can listen to like Geek Freaks. You can go to Trek Freaks. You can go to Round 3. There's so many great podcasts out there. You should probably listen and review all of them, I think. Again, masterpieces.
I agree. Disney Mom's Gone Wrong is a fun one too.
Actually, that one's, yeah, I've been getting a lot of people that are like laughing at that or getting heated about certain things. Yeah, that one's a, talk about one that sparks conversation. That's definitely a podcast that does that. Yeah.
Well, guys, let us know what you think are true 10 out of 10s, or what is your number one source for gaming news. Leave us a comment, like, subscribe, do all the things the algorithm likes.
Please.
And Kevin, Frank, any last words?
None for me.
Love you.